Okay. I need to go to YouTube here. I'm early. I'm early. Hello. Hello, beautiful ladies. How are you? Sorry for the time confusion. You know me and time, I'm not very good with time at all. So, okay. Who is all with us? Okay. So we'll just wait a bit, let some people get on. So how's everyone doing with all these crazy energies? I know it's been really intense. I really wanted to make this live to talk about one, what happened during the Sirius portal for a lot of people, what I experienced, give some disclosure information about kind of what that was, what to expect, what's coming with the Lionsgate portal, just give an energetic update and kind of anything, answer any questions that anybody has. It's been really intense. Also, I'll give a little review. I watched The Sound of Freedom. So I'll kind of give my feedback. Got some fun topics to talk about. So hi, Charlene. Hi, Sam. So let me know if you guys have any questions off the bat before I get into kind of the whole story. I want you guys to ask questions because your questions trigger things that I might have forgot to mention. You know, when you're talking about everything and kind of getting it out, you kind of forget little details that may not have seemed important at the time, but might actually be something that, you know, could help or resonate with you guys. So just answer or just ask any questions and I'll answer them. Hi. Hi, Anna. Hope everyone's doing good. You have to bear with me. I'm reading the questions and comments on my phone because I figured that would be the easiest way. So we've got 15 now. Hi, Joanna. Okay. All right. So has everybody here watched my Instagram videos about what happened to me on 7/6? Hi, Anja. Hi. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, I think that's just been a lot of the energies that are going on. You know, as we're ramping up into the Lionsgate portal, I think things are going to just be getting really intense for everybody. I've noticed people have been on edge, like tensions are running high, tempers are pretty high, like people are just really, they're really going through it. Okay. So, I think something I didn't mention in the videos that probably would be very important for you guys to know is that prior to all of that happening, It was a little bit earlier in the day. It was prior to me and my mom going swimming in the middle of the lake. I was checking Instagram and I forget who was posted a video about the different upgrades, and I was like, I want upgrades. I want all the upgrades. Give me all the upgrades, all the downloads. I can handle it. That's exactly what I said. I can handle it. And I definitely second guessed myself quite a bit that night. I'll tell you that. About whether or not I could handle it, because it was really intense, very intense. I mean, it was intense physically, especially. It was intense mentally. It was intense emotionally. It was really intense for my mom, my poor mom, who was witnessing all of this. You know, we're camping. I had a couple drinks throughout the day. And you know, I don't drink very heavily. I don't drink liquor. I can't do anything with gluten because I'm gluten intolerant. So I had like cider. And that's like the extent of what I'll have. So it was just like a can of cider. And so I wasn't like drunk or anything. And but my mom had been drinking a couple. So she was feeling a little bit drunk. So I think that's what made it worse for her, is because I'm experiencing all of this stuff. And she's like, here's my kid, right? My daughter. I don't know how to help her. I am, you know, slightly a little drunk, and all of this is happening. Like, wow, talk about a buzzkill. I'm very lucky that she didn't feel or see the first time it happened to me in the car, but wow, can you imagine? Like, I just got in the car was on, so the car was running. I'm in the driver's seat the first time that this happened, and literally it just felt like my whole body shut down. Like it was like, you know, like complete, I had lost everything and I was gone. I was not there anymore. And I was taken up immediately into the ship. And what I realized, and something I did not clarify in the videos, and I probably should have, when I say I was taken in the ship, right, my body was still here on Earth, but my entire ET being that I realized is inhabiting this body was completely taken in. I'll explain how that works. So you guys know that I'm Andromedan. I'm Andromedan. In that form, I'm a 12th density being. So I'm a light being. I don't have a physical body. I have form, and I can shapeshift. So I can change into physical form, but I don't have physical form of myself. So when I go to my Andromedan state of being, it's a light being. So literally within the rays of light, on the spectrum of light. So when I go to Earth, I am taking my entire ray of light being into my earthly vessel. So I'm not streaming my consciousness. It's not like there's a body on my ship of my ET self. My ET self comes to Earth in this vessel through light waves and through technique that we use. So when I came to, I should say, out in my normal state of being in the rays and the light spectrum, I had a shape, right? It was in the shape of similar looks, blonde, long blonde hair. I was in a red like uniform, and I was laying on this table. So I literally winked into existence. So the crew was a little surprised because I wasn't there, and then I was there, you know what I mean? And so the first words, or say words, they didn't speak anything. It was telepathic, but I could tell these were Neptune beings. They weren't Andromedan. They had kind of, how do I say this without sounding offensive to them? So their heads were kind of like a little bit triangular, but they were a little more lumpy, you know, like their heads were not perfectly formed, not like a gray. And they had big wide set eyes that were not like, they didn't have black over them or anything. They were like actually colored, like they had humanistic eyes, but very big. So there was a pupil, and there was like, you know, thinking of the words, retina, all of that. the words that are escaping right now. And they were colored. They were like kind of like a grayish blue. And they have really tiny mouths and like little like nose, like tiny little nostrils, not like a projected nose, but like little nostrils. And they were also wearing the red suits. And they did have physical form. They were physical. You could tell they were physical. They're, maneuvering and interacting with physical things, which is why there was a ship, because they needed it, not because I needed it. But the first thing that was sent or projected was, she forgot how to play the game. And I was like, and instead of like, my human self would have said like, what game or whatever, like explain yourself. Like I immediately was in my ET thought process, because the first words on my mouth were, what am I doing here? And it was like in kind of that same tone, like I'm not supposed to be here. Why am I here? And they were like, we need to do some upgrades and some downloads. And what's interesting is they went to like reach and grab my shoulder, and as soon as they touched it, I had physicality, and they like pushed me back. Now, granted, I knew that these were Neptune beings because I do work a lot with them. And I would say they're about, 7 to 8 density. So they still have physicality, but they're ascended beings. And so they had physicality, so I could feel when they can interact. But it's more like, how do I explain it? So I posted a picture on Instagram of the different levels of light bodies, right? Etheric, celestial, light body, which is like your Merkaba, to your soul body, to et cetera, et cetera. So at 12th density, it's celestial, etheric. It's like border, you could say it's border. And then about 9th would be like more celestial. And then under that would be more of the light body. So that's where you get the Merkaba, where you can shift your physicality into non-physicality, but you still have physical. So it's kind of like that. So they can interact with me, whereas like humans interacting with a really, really highly ascendant being would be very difficult because the gap is too big. So this was a smaller gap, so therefore you can interact a little bit more. So they pushed me down and they're like, we need to do like calm down, like slow your, calm down and just let us do what we got to do. And literally it was like, I don't know, it felt like a matter of seconds, but it could have been minutes up there. I mean, honestly, time was just not a thing up there. I had no sense. There was a lot going on, so I had no sense of time. It seemed like there was a lot going on for it to be seconds. You know what I mean? So it was probably more than that. It was probably minutes. But on Earth, when I came to in my earthly body, because I did come to, and it wasn't sudden, it was very slow. And the reason why it was slow is because I had no motor skills. I couldn't control my arms. I couldn't control my legs. I couldn't control my face. I felt like as if I'd been in a coma or something, like deep, deep sleep. And your whole body has like pins and needles and you can't feel anything. And so I was, like my eyes are the first thing to come to, and I'm trying, like my vision's out of focus, and I'm trying to get my body to work. And I tried to talk and it was very slurred. It was like, it was like my whole mouth was full of cotton. And every time I tried to move, I would get pain because it was like the feeling, the sensation was coming back, and I could still hear them talking to me, just as if I was talking on the phone, like someone was on speakerphone, but in my ear. And they were like, take it slow, like take it easy, like calm down, slow your heart rate. It's going to take a while for you to get acclimated to your body again. And I'm like, trying to form words again. And I'm just like, what, what is happening? What is like, why is it this way? It was more like, why is my body acting like this? And then all of a sudden it was like, I heard this should do it. And then all of a sudden it was like a snap, and all of a sudden everything came to my body again, sensation, feeling, and I had motor skills. And I was just like, my heart rate was going crazy though. So my breathing, my heart rate was elevated, like everything, because, probably, I'm sure I was freaking out a bit. And so I opened the door to get out of the car's still running, and I run to my mom. She's sitting by the fire and, next to the fire and sitting in chairs. And I'm like, Mom, I have to tell you what just happened. And honestly, she told me, I asked her later, she's like, you literally were just in there a few minutes and then you came running out. So I know time passed differently for sure. Because I was like telling her, and I launched into the story and I'm telling her what happened. And she's like, all right, calm down. Like, tell me whatever, like, tell me this whole thing. And I'm noticing my heart rate is still really high. I feel like I ran a marathon. Like, nothing is right. Like, my heart rate is way too fast. And I have an Apple Watch, so I'm checking it. It's 175. And I haven't been doing anything. Like, it's not like I've been exercising. So I go to sit down in the chair because she's like, sit down, calm down, and I start noticing I'm having trouble breathing. Like, it feels kind of like a panic attack, but it was more than that because my heart rate really was elevated. And it was more than just me being freaked out. It's like something didn't click when I got back in my body. Like, something was like not fitting correctly. So, it's like when you slide your foot into a shoe and you don't have your toes in the right place, like, yeah, technically the shoe's still on, but it's not on correctly. So it feels weird. And it's like, you can't walk like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's something wrong and you can tell. So it was like that. It was like, I put on this skin suit and something was not right. So I'm sitting down and then I'm trying to drink water. I'm just like, I'm so thirsty. And I'm like noticing something is not right. Like, my heart rate is not slowing down. Nothing is getting better. And then it happened again in front of my mom. And she said, like, it's just like, basically like my whole body, just, to me, it felt like it shut down. She said it again was a short amount of time. Like, we're talking so short amount of time. But she said I would stop breathing or slow breathing, like pause and, like, just lose all my energy and like flop the chair. So she was a little freaked out, and understandably so. And again, I'm back up in the ship. And this time I didn't say anything. This time I'm just looking around and I'm like, like, okay, I'm back here again. And they're like, okay, we need to fix something. Like, something is not 100%. Like, we're going to do some more work. And so they're doing what they need to do. And for me, that time felt the longest. It felt like I was there like 30 minutes. And then I'm back in my body. And according to my mom, we're talking, it wasn't even full minutes. Like, this was like 30 seconds to a minute I was gone. So yeah, time definitely works differently up there. Well, it doesn't work. There is no time up there. I guess that's the point. So yeah, so she's freaking out. And I think there's something going on. So my human mind is like, no, this is not right. Something is weird. Like, this is not. And then she said, this part I don't remember. She said, I started saying my goodbyes. Like, I'm going. They want me to go. I'm going. Like, I thought I was going up there for good, I guess. I thought that I wasn't coming back. And so I started saying my goodbyes. And she said, like, she's like freaking out. She's like, okay, I gotta get you to somebody. Like, something is happening. Like, my heart rate was still 175. It might have gone over that. Again, I'm just sitting there. So there's no reason for my heart rate to be freaking out like this. So she gets me in the car. She doesn't know how to drive my car. We had both our cars there. She didn't know how to drive mine because mine is like a weird, like, gear shift thing. So I'm trying to, in the midst of experiencing all this, trying to tell her how to drive my car. It was a mess. So we drive to the camp host, we're in a campground. There are RVs, there's campsites, we're in the campsites. We drive to the RVs and hunt down this camp host who's in a golf cart. I'm telling you, this sounds like a movie or something. we find finally the campsite he's at, and him, and I'm getting completely out of it at this point. I don't remember, like, I vaguely remember seeing him, and he's like at the car window, and she's trying to like tell him, and he's like, what do I need to do? I think he said, like, do I need to call an ambulance? And then like they were checking, you know, my watch, and apparently it got really high or something. So they were like, okay, we don't know if she's having a heart attack, like what's going on? Like, we're just gonna call the paramedics. So I'm camping in the middle, or I mean, like northeast Oklahoma in a very rural area. They call 911 and they talk to paramedics. They don't get a lot of action there. So I guess this is what I heard. When they sent the paramedics, they sent like all the paramedics to this campground. And I'm, from what my mom said, we've now got a crowd of people because there's nothing else going on in this camp RV site. And so I'm just out of it. And she said she was crying. Because I was crying. I was saying my goodbyes. And I think my mom told the camp, this is what she told me. She's like, she's okay. And he's like, she's not okay. So they were both freaked out. And I feel so bad that like this happened because I was out of it. I had no idea what was happening during that time, to be honest. I had no clue. I wasn't in the ship, at least I don't think I was. My memory is completely cut off at that point. So whatever was happening physically to me was like going through some kind of cycle that it needed to go through. So whatever upgrades they did, whatever downloads I got, were now integrating very quickly. And so the ambulance paramedics get there. And then I remember bits and pieces. Like I remember getting pulled out of the car, put on a stretcher, getting lifted up and put into the ambulance. And it wasn't big enough to hold my mom. So my poor mom, what race beings were exact? Okay, I'll get to that in just a second. This happened before. No, so this has never happened to me. Okay, well, I have been taken before with the Neptune beings, and it did happen. I actually did post a series about it. It's my series titled Abducted. I wasn't really abducted because it's consensual, but it freaked me out. And again, my Apple Watch recorded it. But that time was different because my body stayed here just like it did before. But when I left my body, my Apple Watch didn't record heartbeats. It didn't record breathing. It didn't record a pulse. It didn't record anything. There is literally a block of time that is blank. And I did post pictures about this because I, can check all my health app and everything. I was literally gone for 30 minutes. Physically, I may have been here. Honestly, I don't know because nobody saw my body in here. Nobody saw my body, and my watch recorded as there being no signs of life for 30 minutes. So I encourage you to watch that series if you haven't. You can look at my highlight reels and Instagram and just click on Abducted and watch them. I do post pictures, like I said, of the entire screenshot of what happened on my watch with that. It's basically like as if I took my watch off for 30 minutes, except I was asleep. So you can see my algorithm for sleeping, my REM sleep, like I'm literally deep sleep, and then literally it cuts off. I go from deep sleep, then 30 minutes later, I am wide awake. It's like I'm still, it shows me sleeping, but then I'm suddenly awake in literally a second. So it's like I just came to in my watch, like my body filled out everything. So that's the closest thing that anything has happened. But granted, I was in bed. Like I was in bed and I was conscious of everything that was happening, but I wasn't about to drive in a car. So no, it definitely was not the same at all. And these Neptune beings definitely are, they work for the Galactic Alliance. I know that. They do hire like the little, what do you call them? The little grays that are not real, they do hire those to help when they do like the up to the ship thing like I experienced, where literally that one, I kind of wonder if they didn't take my body physically, because I literally physically remember my body going up and I had to pass through like solid matter, and like I had to dematerialize, like my frequency had to change so that the body could get through the roof. Like I remember all of that. So that was a little bit different than me just streaming, you know, myself into this human avatar. And I did get told that they did work on me physically there. So it was a little different. What was, did I miss a question? Okay, hold on. Just making sure. Yeah, definitely it is physical too. But this time I think it was, or this time at the campground, it was physical in the sense that I was getting upgrades, but I was getting upgrades more to I feel like my etheric body, my celestial body, was getting upgraded. So that's why I'm inclined to believe it's more etheric than celestial, because at that point being able to stream down into this physical human avatar. So what was interesting though is like in the ambulance, at first they had hooked like the EKG machine up to me, and then they stopped because like I guess my heart rate went to normal. And then all of a sudden I'm seeing different realities and dimensions passing in front of me like a movie. And I'm just like a little freaked out because it's going so fast. And what's strange is like I could sense that my body was like, it was like that movie Everything Everywhere All at Once, where she just shifts between realities by doing something super weird. But in this case, it was like they would hook something up or put the IV in me, and all of a sudden it would shift. And so I saw this scene where I was hooked up to wires, kind of like Matrix style, you know, like things are like plugged in, you know, it's the IV, it's the EKG, but because I was shifting realities, I went to this one and I go, literally, this is what they said that I said. I was like, no, I am not plugged into the Matrix. And I don't know what they responded, but this is what they told me that I said. They were getting a kick out of me, I should say. And then I heard the voice in my ear, my in-ear piece. That's not a real thing. And they're like, no, you're not plugged in the Matrix. You're just shifting through different realities. It's just taking a minute where, you know, everything is integrating. I'm like, okay. So yeah, at that point, I think I was saying other things too, according to the paramedics. I was talking about the ship. So I think maybe I did go in the ship again, and because I was talking about it. I wasn't conscious of it at that point anymore. Like whatever was happening, and it was too much for my mind to handle. And so I was just like, I'm out. I'm out. So similar experience with the Greys, but saw that you were working on Ethereal Body, and they said exit the game. I couldn't move. Yeah, yep. Yeah, that sounds so similar, literally. But are you sure they were Greys? Because honestly, the Neptunes have gray skin. They're not Greys though, because they're more organic. So Greys have integrated with AI, so that's why I say like they're not Greys. These are very organic celestial beings, and you can tell because they're lumpy, like their heads are a little, you know, like human heads. Have you ever seen a bald human head? Okay, you know how it's sometimes a little lumpy because it's organic. Well, that's how they are, but like alien lumpy. So the Greys are too perfect. Like that's why you see the little emoji is like, it's like the perfect like round head and like black filmed eyes, you know. These didn't have that. They weren't black film like over the eyes. Yeah, you see, they're just gray skin. So they probably were Neptune beings. Neptunes really work for the Galactic Alliance, and they're kind of like the crew. They're kind of like the tech, you know, like the geek squad of the Galactic Realm. They do a lot of technical things. So like on their planet, I do a lot of missions. I've done a lot of missions, helping with like big towers that like take stuff from the central sun and like beam it down. Like that's kind of the halfway point from the central sun to Neptune. Then Neptune beams it over to the other worlds. And so one of the towers went down, so I had to do some missions with actually Natalie from Divine Transmissions. So it's just some of the missions that we do, but that one was working with the Neptune beings. And so they do a lot of tech stuff. Yeah, no problem. There's a lot that went on. So yeah, so we get to the hospital. Again, super out of it. I think by this point I'm really exhausted too. Like I'm so tired. And here's another thing I didn't even remember. My mom told me, she goes, we did not eat. We didn't eat that day. Apparently, like it started going to the laundromat, went to the laundromat, came back, and so I had like the one cider on an empty stomach. Then we went in the middle of the lake swimming against the current, exerting myself, you know, like crazy. Like it's a workout because I'm literally just using my legs to propel me to the center of the lake with my mom. And that's like the video I got of the buzzards, like they were all like putting their wings out and like saluting us, like they faced away from us and then like put all their wings out. And yeah, maybe they were just sunbathing. I don't know. Turkey vultures. I'm not an expert in turkey vultures, but the fact that there was 13 and they all stared at us and watched us, and all the other birds and avians that were following. I mean, I posted so many videos. There was like, you know, I don't know how many mallards were following me, how many geese. Then there was like all the 13, you know, turkey vultures, and they were just staring at us. And then all but one, the leader, was staring at us, and then the rest turned around and like did this thing with their wings. And I was like, well, that's bizarre. So I recorded, you know, I caught the end of it as they all stopped, but it was just like, it was so interesting, you know. And so that happened all in that time. And what even made us like come in from the water was that the dogs were barking like crazy. Barking, I mean, like going nuts. And so I was like, okay, is somebody at our campsite? Like, you know, we have them in a tent with fans. We have battery powered fans. We're bougie like that. We're, you know, camping, but it's hot there. It's like really hot. So we have fans. And of course, for the animals, I brought my cat with me. She's in my tent with my fan, and the dogs are in my mom's tent, but they're barking like crazy. And so we're like, maybe we should go check on them. And it's going to take like 10-15 minutes for us to get back into shore because we're going against the current now, trying to get into shore. And because at first we were like, no, they're fine, you know, they're just barking. Probably, you know, the camp host came out to see if we needed more firewood or whatever. And then we were like, no, maybe we should go check on them. So that whole process, you know, was a little bit, I guess, exerting. You know, it was a lot of physical activity on like zero food. Well, you know what? See, that's the thing is, you know, that I worked with the avians. I worked with the Aquila blue avians, more than just blue. They're all different colors, but you know, they're interdimensional. And as an archangel, I worked very closely with them, which is why I can even channel them to begin with. And a lot of avians come from my universe, the sixth creation universe that I created. So, I mean, yeah, I feel like there's definitely a connection for avians. But it was all animals. There was dragonflies. I've even got video that I haven't posted of my mom. She has a dragonfly, followed her around all over the lake. Same one. No matter what she moved, it would get up, go away, fly, and come back and land on her. And yeah, the crazy things we saw with the sun, and like so many things, and all the light codes and the wave codes. And there was just a lot going on up to that. And then I had the video I posted. Another thing was the night before of the 7/6, the night before this happened, I posted the video with the crazy shadow thing where physics was bending, and them telling me the next day after I went into the hospital that we are now in the fourth density, we're in a simulation, was my first clue that all that stuff, that weird stuff that was happening before, and with the animals, with the physics of the, you know, what I was recording, like the fire, like everything was bizarre. And it was all leading up. It was a precursor to letting me know that, okay, we've crossed over, we were crossing over into the fourth density, and this is a simulation. And that was to prepare me. And so this was literally now me kind of waking up from the simulation to let everybody know and to get those upgrades and those downloads and to prepare people, because it was going to be happening. And it has happened to many people since then. I had people message me on 7/7, it was happening. On 7/8, it was happening for them. Almost exactly what happened to me. So obviously the Sirius portal is the only time when energy, or basically this portal that goes from Andromeda galaxy, not the constellation, galaxy to Sirius, from Sirius to Earth. I mean, Andromeda galaxy is really far. Like, we were going to really talk about distance and like human concepts, it's exceptionally far. So you know, they can come here. I've actually opened vectors and portals for the ships to come here from Andromeda galaxy. But it takes a lot of energy. There's a lot that goes on. There's a lot that goes with it. But for them to easily access us without traveling through, you know, a special vector portal or at time is the Sirius portal. And they literally can access us. And so anybody that had Andromedan in them, anybody that had Sirian in them, were getting upgrades and downloads. So if you experience something like that, you probably, if you don't already know, if you haven't already taken my galactic history report, you probably got Andromedan in you, and you probably have Sirian, or both, or one at least. So yeah, if you had something like that happen, did anybody have anything like that happen? Anything crazy? I know a lot of people that we already talked to had some things go on, definitely, because I even got sent videos of people that were recounting their story that was so similar, even being taken to the emergency room. So it was really that intense. But I was told that that's why mine happened on 7/6, was to prepare the collective for what was happening on 7/7. Now, I don't think they counted on the fact that I would just be so like overwhelmed. It comes 7/7, I was just like, I'm off grid. Like, I need to integrate all of this. This is a lot for me, for sure. Right. Right. Exactly. Well, yeah, Charlene, I knew you did because I didn't want to call you out, but we talked about that. Yours was on the 8th. Yeah, and we talked about, like, I feel like you're probably one of my commanders. Yeah, yeah, definitely. The butterfly effect. Exactly. It was super bizarre. Like, the whole thing was just, yeah, there was a lot to unpack there. What's interesting about that whole thing, we left shortly after that experience. Like, we stayed and integrated. Everybody was checking on me in the campsite. I'll be honest, I was definitely a little embarrassed because I felt bad that they didn't understand what was going on. So I think the camp host told everybody I just ate something bad, didn't agree with me. Yeah, Lord only knows what they thought, but I mean, personally, I don't care what they thought of me, but I felt bad for them because I'm sure it probably was a little traumatic for them to see it happen, right? Everybody's just camping on their holiday, and then they got to see this crazy chick go through some stuff. So anybody else experience any crazy things that happened from 7/6 to now? Even I know a lot of the collective, even it was happening even much later, like 7/9, you know, 7/10, all the way up to, we're now 16. We're going to be moving into the Lionsgate portal, so that's going to be really intense. Any more questions about what happened? I'm trying to remember if there was any points. Somebody was saying I needed to make a point about the fact that I don't have a body up on a ship. It's not like I have an oversoul. I think a lot of you may have heard about the term oversoul, where there's actual physical body. There are people that are beings that have that, but because, you know, my true original form is Archangel, but of course that definitely doesn't even have a body. I had to descend into physicality a bit more to even do this mission. My angelic body cannot come to Earth in the way to do this mission. So I had to descend to 12th density into my Andromedan body, etheric body, so that way I could even do this mission and come to Earth at this time. So you feel more fairy. Everybody talks about Starseed's experience. Yeah, no. Yeah, totally. I mean, even, I mean, a lot of people, you can have an experience as fae, right? As fairies, and still have had lives in Andromeda. So I've had lives other place. I'm an Andromedan origin because in this universe, you know, but my true form is archangelic. That's the original form that comes, that kind of is beyond this universe. They are outside of the universe, they're outside of time and space, they're outside of they're in Oventon, so, or Orventon, sorry. And so they're in the multiverse, so it's a little different. The same with the avians. Avians don't come from this universe, neither do the Lyrians, neither do the Andromedans. So the Andromedans from Andromeda Galaxy don't come from this universe. There are Andromedans that are in the Milky Way galaxy, that are in the Andromeda constellation, that are from this universe. So, I mean, as Fae, honestly, the Fae don't come from this universe either. Fae come from my universe. I created the Fae. The Fae and the humanoid Fae, so like Regulus and Alpha Centauri Fae, elementals, come from my universe, from the sixth creation universe. So I think Lionsgate portal is really where you're gonna start experiencing upgrades. Oh yeah, sorry, skip that whole part. Ishmael, okay, so after all of that, okay, after I got taken to the hospital, after they released me, after my mom came and picked me up, I went back to the campsite and I went to sleep. The second I fell asleep, I was right back on the ship. I was right back on the ship, and I wasn't alone. And it wasn't in the small area that I was before where they were working on me. I was just walking around completely in my, ET form and my 12th density Andromeda, which still I took on the shape of this vessel, but a little different. Like, I improved. If you can improve yourself, you would, right? That's what I did. And I had like a big, large ponytail on top of my head and a really long blonde hair, and was the red jumpsuit. So I am Archaea. Some people say Michelle. She's known because she's represented by Faith, but she's also known as Michaela. So that is the feminine version of Michael. So we were talking, but he had physical form, so he had descended a bit. But that was his form. He had blonde hair and blue eyes. His hair was about down to here. And that is his true form. And I know it's him because I've seen him so many times in the astral. We talk a lot and see each other a lot in the astral. So that is his highest form. After our reading last night, I woke myself up last night because I was speaking a language that I don't recognize. Was it light language? Yeah, so probably was light language. For the portal coming, are you talking about Lionsgate portal, or are you talking about the one that just passed? Oh, the one coming up, I see. Sorry, it was blocked. Okay, so energetic update. I guess we can move into that if nobody has any more questions about Sirius portal. So Lionsgate portal is another major shift. Normally a Lionsgate portal is not this intense. It's going to be, because now that we're in the fourth density, we are so much closer to fifth density, and we're moving there exponentially at a faster rate. So what you can expect coming up is there's going to be a lot of upgrades, a lot of intense energies, as if you didn't have that already, right? So the main thing that we want to do, the theme for this, is staying grounded, integrating, really being in your heart chakra and being open to everything that's happening and just letting it flow through, but really standing in your power and realizing that you are gods and goddesses, and you're actually moving into this fifth density. And the Lionsgate portal is bringing in a lot more upgrades, a lot more intense energies. Some will probably take a step up. And what I mean by that is there's a very good possibility, so I've been told, that there are going to be beings that go into 5D. So it's going to be intense. It's going to completely shatter your reality. But the people that do go into fifth density will be prepared, because you've already went into fourth density. You start seeing the cracks. So this is how you can tell. if you've gone into fourth density, you start seeing the cracks in things. You're interacting with nature on a level you never have before. Wild animals come up to you, they interact, they listen, you can talk to them, you can hear them. The entire rest of my trip, I was talking to nature very, very directly, and very immediately getting a very direct answer. My mom was watching me. I was looking for firewood, and I would just ask the fae and the trees, I'm like, tell me where you have fallen branches. I can help, alleviate that for you, can take it. And that way there's no fire that will be caused for you. And I was like walking around. My mom's like, you're walking around apologizing to plants so you don't step on them as you're like walking around in the woods. And I very, very clearly talk to them and hear them. And I know that a lot of people say, oh, well, I can do that now. And yeah, I could too. This is different. This is not, it's not, there's sometimes a delay, right? And when you hear them maybe in your own voice, you hear in your own thought process, like you hear it in the voice in your head. This was not that. This was them talking to me very clearly, their own voice. And I'm hearing it in their own voice. I'm not hearing it in my voice or my thought, so it's a little different. And the answers are very quick. There's no delay. And literally I can see them pointing or moving, like over there, go grab, there's a bunch of branches over there that are fallen. Go grab those. And I came back with a crap ton of wood. And my mom was just like, she found some too, but she wasn't hearing them talk to her or talking to them. So that's a really clear indication that you've crossed over, and you're probably on that trajectory to cross over into 5D. So if you experience these crazy upgrades during this time, you're probably going to experience a lot more come Lionsgate. Everybody else will still get downloads and upgrades. It might just be a little bit more gentle, a little bit more subtle. So if you haven't been getting downloads and upgrades, and you haven't done a galactic history report with me, I really urge you to do that, because that is an activation. But more importantly, you're going to get any blockages removed. Like if you have 3D blockages or 4D now, if you still are in the 3D, if you still have those blockages, then we can alleviate that, at least get you on the trajectory that you need to be to get that removed. So I would really consider coming and let's get those blockages removed. And then that way you can go into the 4D and then move along to 5D. We're going to go in stages. It's not going to just, it's not going to be a jump from 3D to 5D. It's not going to happen. So it's just going to be in stages. So let's see what else about the portal coming up. Yeah, it's going to be another big one. This is not going to be the normal Lionsgate portal. You're probably also going to be taken in the ship. So these aren't going to be just regular upgrades and downloads when you sleep. The only caveat to that, maybe it would be if you have kids that are little at home, so you need to be there. I don't, so I just was taken. And I know other people too that don't have little ones and they were just taken up. So if you're looking for an experience like that and you have little kids, you're probably not going to get an experience like that, because, you got little kids to take care of, they're going to make allowances for you. Natalie has cameras in her house and has literally recorded probes coming in her house into her room in the middle of the night to upgrade her. She even caught a Fey dragon on photo or in camera. So she's got little ones, so she can't be taken. And so they're trying to make more allowances for people with that and like leave you here present with your little ones. So that way, you don't have to be taken and it be so traumatic. So yes. Oh, good news about my appointments and bookings. Yes. So you can book through my website, meaningfultravels.com. But the good news is come Monday, I'm putting in my 2 weeks notice with my corporate job. So I'm going to start opening up day appointments. So appointments in July. Well, no, sorry. My last day is the 28th. So it'll be the end of July. But come the end of July, appointments will start opening a ton more. So, and then August will be a ton more appointments opening up. and the same for the end of July. So the last day will be the 28th. So I'll start opening up appointments during the day come after the 28th. Creatress 11 here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, having a little one. Sorry, what does that say? Creatress 11 here. 11, you mean like 11 is your number? I love 11. 11 is like probably my favorite number. It's not my number, my numerology numbers, my life path numbers. I am 369. I am master manifestor. Those are my actual numerology numbers, which is why I can manifest so much. So I had to be given 369. But 11 is like my go-to number. That's the number I always, whenever I want to know, like if I'm having doubts about the path I'm on, like I'll see 1111. But now I don't ever see any of the lower numbers anymore. So I use military time now because I want to have the access to the upper numbers. So I'll see like 1313, or I see a lot of twin flame numbers, say 2121, 2222, 2323. So yeah, those are really fun because you can start working with the higher angel numbers. Oh yeah, Archaea universe. Got you. Okay. Got you. Okay, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I am creation 6, creatress. And now I see what you're saying. Okay, Archaea 11. Wait, so Jophiel, is it Jophiel? Which has many names, but Archaea 11, universe 11. Very cool. Yes, you should message me. We should talk more about that. My twin Ray he is creator 12 of the 12th creation, which is this one. So that is Lord Michael. He's creator of this universe. I created 6. I created, divine, feminine, fae, all the magic, light, all of that came from my universe. Yes, put it in your calendar. Yes. 28th. Mark the calendar. Girl, you and me both. I'm so happy to finally be doing that. It was funny because on the way to camping, I was quite literally getting billboard signs that were talking to me. It was funny. The first one was, when you're ready to make a career move, we'll be with you. And the second one was like, ready to quit yet? You got our support. And I was just like, oh my God, you guys are just being sarcastic asses now. It was just funny. The universe has a funny way of doing that. Well, no. Okay, let me. Well, you know what? That's a good question, actually, Stacey, because the creator archangels create universes. That's literally the job of archangels, is to create. So they work under, they created. So there's primordial mother source who created all of the universes. And then each universe has a prime creator source. That is the Archaea or archangel. So if you read Ishmael's book, he talks about the different levels, the celestial levels of heaven, and Havana, and there's like the Union of Days, which is kind of what the archangels are under, and then there is the Celestial of Days, and there is the Eternity of Days. There's a lot of different levels. And so the Archaea and the archangels reside we're kind of in Orbenton. So Orbenton is like the omniverse, so it's all the universes, and that's led by, or it's under Havana, led by Metatron. So yeah, definitely recommend reading his book. Oh yeah, Azrael. Okay. Yep. Got you. Yes, they're a separate universe, but paired to polar opposites. Yeah. Right, exactly. So like in mine, so my twin Ray is this universe. He has this universe. And this one is masculine, right? Very patriarchal, masculine type universe. But it started feminine. So it was feminine to masculine. Mine is the opposite. So it was masculine to feminine. So actually my universe started masculine, then went to feminine. So there's all about, there's like cycles, right? But I helped create this one as well, or helped, we all did, all of the archangels and archaea, everyone devoted some, stuff to it. So I brought magic and fae and all of that to this universe. And that was my contribution. I know there are others, and I'm not sure what yours was. So wait, if Azrael was your other half, who are you? Is it jovial? I want to say it's like jovial. I have to look. I have a really, she's got many names, but I think she's known as jovial. Go up here and I'll tell you actually exactly who. Oh, Magdalena. So wait, you're the Lady Mercy? Magdalena? Interesting. Well, Magdalena is Azrael's other counterpart. So you're the Lady Mercy. So Jovial has Lucinda, the Lady Clarity. And then Natalie, she's also one. She's the Lady Charity, and her husband is Chamuel. So yeah. Do I have contacts on the Elohim? I mean, I have the same context that Ishmael has about the Elohim. I mean, they all have different names. They're literally just celestial offshoots, right? So if we want to go back to Eden, the Garden of Eden, which was a paradise, Latin paradisio, which was prison. It's Latin for prison, by the way. What Lord Michael and Lady Michaela did, or Michaela did, was involute, so came into physicality to become Adam and Eve. So their celestial, DNA, you could say, it's not DNA, but I'm trying to put a 3D concept on it so we can follow. So they involuted from etheric into celestial, into like down the chain, all the way into physicality, but not 3D. It was much higher, still physical form, probably 7, 8D. And then they took the physical form so that they could propagate the human race. So this is essentially the Big Bang that everybody talks about. It's not really a Big Bang. It's more like a big stretch. And so basically they were captured by Inky, put in this garden, this paradise or paradisio prison, and they were made to forget who they were, their power, their abilities, everything. And that's why they were simple. They didn't, because they didn't have their power. So Lord Michael and Lady Michaela didn't have their power anymore, their memory of their power. So loss of identity. So this is kind of the first veil of forgetting that was created to make humans forget who they were and who they are. So they involuted into physicality, were captured, put into this prison to prevent them from, propagating. And so there was a divine serpent woman who was Hydra being, who was sent by Enlil into the garden to remind them of their true power. And the Hydra serpent women, they are embodying the divine feminine. They are embodying both the light and the dark. And they basically have the ability to speak divine truth and be heard, understood, and acknowledged. So you can't argue. It's the one woman you can't argue with because they have the ability to only speak divine truth. And so you can't argue with divine truth. So you understand it immediately and you acknowledge it as divine truth. And there it is. So of course she was the perfect woman to do the job, to go in. And that's why you hear about the serpent who come into the garden to convince them to partake in the knowledge, the apple of knowledge. Really, it's the metaphor for it. She was telling them divine truth to that they were just as powerful as Inky and Enlil, and they had divine right and source gene and all of that, and had all the powers that they had, and to escape. And so that's how they did escape and remember their true powers and gifts. And they were able to propagate the human race, what eventually became way down the line of Homo sapiens sapiens. So, yeah, Magdalena actually is her angel name. So she's Lady of Mercy. But anyways, so continuing on, the Elohim is just more physicality of the celestial. So it's that mixture of, you know, Adam and Eve, which actually were celestials, and then the mixture of celestials, you know, like that's how you got the Anunnaki, right? Was taking reptilian, which was, even reptilian came from a mixture of a celestial and draconian. Then that comes down, and then reptilian and celestial, and then you get Anunnaki, and then that further comes down, and then human. Okay, so Homo sapiens sapien. But essentially, even Adam and Eve were not pure human. They were not human. They were celestials. Okay, they were celestials that further involuted. So we took the archangels that chose to involute into physicality. Then they used that physicality to propagate the bloodlines, and mixing further with other celestials. Even the Anunnaki got involved, but even the Anunnaki come from that line of Elohim, of the highest of even of the house of Ra, and the different houses all come, they're all mixtures of celestial DNA. So all of that, there is some truth to kind of what they said as, you know, the Anunnaki, that there is some of them in our blood, because they are also celestial, as are we, as are our propagators, as are Adam and Eve. So the house of Abraham. So it's a lot, but a lot of it, if you read his book, there's a lot of the information. He goes into, I think he goes into some of the detail. I don't think he goes into all the details yet. Maybe look for the second book for that he's writing. So there's going to be more detail, but that's basically the gist of it. So that's why you get the Melchizedek, and the different house of Abraham. All of that is just celestial DNA that's further involuted into physicality. So it's just going down and down and down and down. So until you get to Homo sapiens sapien in the third. Yeah, well, that's why we forgot who we were, is literally because of passing the veil that was actually instituted by Inky. So he, you know, has always been behind basically all of everything that has happened to us. He was part of the words are escaping right now. He was a master geneticist. Okay, so he capped the telomeres. He is the reason why the humans age or aged. He messed and tinkered with an already perfect DNA structure. So it's not that he created us, it's that he messed with us and basically screwed with our genetics and DNA. So yeah, the Elohim, it's literally just the house of, like, it's just another word. Melchizedek and Elohim, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same thing. And that's kind of the, you know, that's the thing about language, right? If you think about ancient Babylon, words were created, languages were created to confound, to separate, to divide. Because if you can't communicate, you can't share divine knowledge, right? If you can't communicate on the same level, then stuff gets lost in translation, right? Information that's passed down generation after generation gets lost, and we forget who we truly are and our gifts that we truly have, and the powers and the amazing gods and goddesses that we actually are. So, you know, Elohim, Melchizedek, it's all words for the same thing. We are the superhuman race, and we are the race, the celestial race created with the God source gene to basically do what other celestials could not, because, you know, other celestials always live up in their upper chakras. So they always live in the higher chakras. They don't live in the lower three. And humans can, just like reptiles, reptilian and draconian all live in their lower three chakras. And there was never that balance. There was never that meeting of the two worlds. And there was a little bit when the reptilian bred with the celestials and you started to have that integration. But, you know, it never worked because there was always the war and fighting between the two. So there was always like this division, right? And so humans are really the first of their kind because they can embody all the chakras. They have the propensity for dark or light. They have the propensity of staying in that center of that spectrum of service to self and service to others. They can stay and hover in the middle, so if they choose, and that's what makes them, you know, the more perfect of the races. So I know that's a lot of information. Let me see if I've missed anything, because kind of got off on a tangent there for a bit. So, okay. Well, I did a little bit of the energetic update. We can do you guys want to do some light language, do some integration? I am writing a book. I am. And that's part of the reason why I'm quitting my day job, because I need time to do it. Yeah. So yeah, if you guys, we can do a little clearing, a little integration, and do some light language. And let's get grounded. Let's start integrating all these intense energies. Okay. So I want you to get into a comfortable position, you know, take some deep clearing breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. Just relax, just clear your mind. I'm just going to get grounded here myself to prepare to bring in some energy to ground, to clear, and to integrate, because we really need it, right? Let's get all these intense energies. Let's bring them down to heal, okay? Because we're master of our emotions, master of our energy. So we're just going to do a clearing here. We're going to clear all this dense energy, anything that you've got lingering, any doubt, any fear. Unutuma, kisanutuma, lumenatata, ina tumatasana ana, ina luma atanina, kunamanana, kinainua, kinainuana, kinainananana, kunanini mananani, kusainini, kunaina, ina tusaina, timata, tumaitina, kusa inatasa, ina tumatisana ata, kunaini, kunaina, kunainana, kisaniwata, ina utuma timata, ina atasa imutuma, ina atusani timata, unutuma, okay? Deep breath in, let it out. Okay, now we're going to focus here on integrating here. So I'm just going to create a warm, this is a white etheric blanket, fluffy. We're just going to embody ourselves with this and integrate all of these energies from the Sirius portal. Utusinitina, lumianina tumalinata, nina sumalina, kuna tima, lumiana, umranina, nimirana tumata, timasa, lumiana, lumianinana, ino kasamata, imatumiata, tisuanina mata, timato, kunata, kina inata, ikusumata mata, lumata, luma imata, ingaima, kisanua, umaina, kusai na matasa, una kisai notasa, kusai na, una simai minasa, kusai. Grounding it down. We're just going to start grounding all this energy that we're taking in. Unaina, unamina nasina, kituma ninata, kitaisa, inatuvasidata, kina umatimata, kuna tumasina ana, kunaina, umatina, utisa inatata, kutasa, tumatanata, ina utusima ana, aligning and balancing, bringing in and just grounding in, pulling in all that energy down into Mother Gaia. grounding down to the floor. Deep breath in. Tumatita, tumasana, kasina, tumanina tata, unabatasa, ina tumata, tina utu, ukunamata, sina avatasi, ununa, unana. Bringing that energy down. Usaina, una timai tusu, utumai tima tisa, anunai, unaina, ainura, unaisa, unaina batasa. Ikutamata ino inatimata tumaina tisa ita kunaina tusaimata ikusaina ainotasa inatasa. Just gonna ground this energy, calm it down. Sai kun sainata kainata sinata inatumata unaita tubatata tusaika unainumata unatasa unaitasa unaitasa. Just feel all this love for yourself, love for your process, love for your journey where you're at. You've come a long way. You've been battling hard. You're weary. I know you're tired, but let's just try and stay grounded and bring all that love for yourself and your journey for where you're at. Tamatinu timata tumaina tumaina kusaina tumaina tumaka kinatu tumasaina tama. And let's just bring in faith in yourself, faith in the love, faith in the unseen, faith in that everything is going to be okay. And everything is as it should be in divine alignment. Where exactly where you need to be. Right, how do you guys feel? I'm just gonna wrap up all these energies, tie them up nice and tight. Okay, so as soon as you said that fluffy white blanket with fluffy white cat into my lap. Well, you know, I was Basset, so because I was Basset, cats are always going to be drawn to that. That's funny. Yeah, I'm surprised I don't see my little my Lyrian Bengal. She's usually on my lap when I'm doing light language, but I think she's conked out. She's passed out. Awesome. Well, do you guys have any more questions or anything before I wrap it up? Yay, I'm so happy. Thank you. Thank you for sharing space with me and holding space and just bringing your wonderful energy. And I see a lot of faces I know, and I see a lot of people I've seen and comments, and I look forward to doing your report if we haven't already and diving deep. And I love you guys so much. And I'm so happy that you joined, and I hope it was helpful, and I hope it brought some peace to you. And I know a lot of people are going to catch the recording because a lot of people are asleep right now. So on their side of the world. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you. I look forward to the day that we can all meet, you know, when we're all in the 5D and we can just travel freely without borders and tickets and money and all of that. And we can just meet and connect with Soul Tribe, because I think it's so important that we do that right now. You know, that's why I went to Shasta with Ishmael, and, you know, we connected and connected with Soul Tribe. I saw so many amazing people there. If you guys, I will speak a little bit about Shasta because I know I haven't given an update about that. It was amazing. It was so good. So I got to connect. I didn't know anybody that was speaking, with the exception of, like, I'd met Rob Potter. He's really the only person besides Ishmael that I knew there. And everybody that was there recognized me from, not from this life, not from here. They recognized me from the astral. So they recognized my Andromedan form, and I was so touched. In fact, Omnek, she's like 96 years old. She is a embodied Venusian, and she recognized me and held my hands for 30 minutes. And she was like, it's been so long since I met somebody like me. And I was like on the verge of tears. Like, she was just so, her energy is so beautiful, and she was so amazing. And of course, I recognized one of my commanders. She was there, Victoria Lillingquist. She recognized me as well in the astral. So she's a commander for the Andromedan fleets. It was so cool. There were people that recognized both me and Ishmael. We would go out to eat or something, and there was there were people that recognized him for his book, but there was people that were drawn to me, my energy, and they recognized my archangel form. And I thought that was just so amazing. And there was one girl, she was crying. She had me crying. She was like so happy. She's like, please, can I hug you? And I'm like, yes. It was like, you just feel soul family there. Everybody was like soul tribe. And you recognize so many people from the astral. And it was so amazing. And we hiked up to a portal together, and we went with like the bougie healer, and we were supposed to go with the Paul the Venusian, but we went with Arcturus Ra and some other people that were there. That I got to meet some followers that I hadn't met before. And we had 6 ships and 2 contacts while we were there. It was pretty amazing. We did like a CE5 meditation, and we did it like in an open field, and it was so good. It was just so good. God, there was so much that happened there. The talks went amazing. Everything was good. I got to meet a lot of people that I hadn't, that I've only connected with through online. I did live energetic healings. It is recorded. I will be posting video of my speech and Ishmael's speech. I have all of our discs. I have to pull them off of disc and put it on digital. But we had so many amazing things that happened there. There was like Debbie Solaris was there, which she's also, I believe, on Gaia. And so I got to meet her finally and talk. And it was so cool because we're in the 3D and all we're talking about is 5D stuff, or, higher ascended stuff and work that we do, and realizing that us being there now or there then in the physical we were holding meetings that like we normally did up in the astral, but in person. And it was so amazing. I'm so blessed and so honored to be able to have even done that. And yeah, there were so many. I did a couple interviews while I was there. There's going to be a show rolling out, a radio show as well as a podcast. So we did, both he and I and a lot of other people did interviews for this new TV network. And I don't know if I have the name of it, but it's coming up soon in August. So you should be on the lookout for that. It's called, let's see if I can get the name of it. Make Contact TV. So it's going to be launching mid-August. So we did some interviews for that, as well as we'll be going on the live radio. We have another conference coming up. I'm so excited to tell you guys this. So September, it's going to be the end of September, beginning of October. Ishmael and I are going to another conference together in Sacramento. So if you're in the area, if you have a way to get there, we'll be posting videos and doing promos about it here pretty soon. And then we should have the ticketing site up again, so we can be doing tickets for that. So I'm super excited to be soft announcing that. So I hope that you guys can make it. I hope I get to meet some of you guys. That would be so amazing. And yeah, I'm super excited to see all of you guys if you can make it. We're starting with a 2-day conference. It might be 4 days. We're still trying to work out venue stuff, but it'll be really amazing and really fun. And we'll be doing some new stuff there. We'll be doing an in-person meditation. So I've been wanting to do this for so long. I've been wanting to do a live, like, in-person meditation with you all. And I think it would just be so amazing. The global meditations are amazing, and it's great that we can connect with people all over, but people are starting to migrate and move. So I'm hoping soon to be meeting Altia and Natalie and Sandra from Akura and Ruben and all of the people, and Sarah Bussman Cosme, all of those people that that we have been working with will be meeting in person. So I think that'll be super amazing. And hopefully we can one day do a big global meditation live together. So it'd be pretty cool. So just some fun, amazing things that happen in Shasta, and some good things that are coming on the horizon. So I love you guys, and thank you so much for just hanging out and sharing space with me. And yeah, always know that I'm here for you guys if you ever need anything. And much love to you all. And I guess with that, I will. Yes, love and blessings to you all. Sending love. And have a great rest of your day or night, wherever you are. And I will see you on Instagram. Take care.